Hello, welcome to another video on my attempt to get to 2400. Very good news for the start of this video. I have actually made it halfway there. The average rating that I have is approximately 2351. So I've made it halfway, but of course my Blitz rating still needs to catch up. As you may see, it is only in the 2320s. So I'm going to try to get it to about 2333. That will be a third of the way there for my Blitz. And I'm doing the classic 5 minutes plus 4 second increments to play this game. My opponent here is nearly 2300, so they're very, very strong. I'm not entirely sure what this opening is, to be honest. I've tried mixing it up with e4, but I don't seem to have had a lot of success here. Let's see, I'm threatening bishop b4 check as a potential annoyance for white. If they play something like a3, I always have things like bishop to c5, but they have done knight c3, which allows a pin. I could have taken their knight straight away to double their pawns up, but I do like pinning them and putting pressure on their position. Now, a3 would not be too good, I don't think, because I potentially can do knight takes knight, or bishop takes knight to just pick up a pawn. Let's see, what are they going to play? They could go bishop d2 here, but no, they've taken me. Knight takes c6. Now, if I take them on c3, they take me on d8, I take on d1, their king takes, my king takes. I don't really have a lot there, but it's an interesting way to play. I think I better do d takes, actually. This is an interesting move. What d takes does is it will trade the queens, so unfortunately my king gets kicked around, so no castling for me. But yeah, they have to guard their knight. And now I can double their pawns no matter what they do. Doesn't matter. Take me with a pawn, I take their bishop. Take me with the bishop, I take the bishop. So we have the same coloured bishop ending, which is looking quite nice for me with their doubled isolated pawns. I also have doubled pawns on the c-file, but not isolated. My b-pawn is helping them out. Potentially I can do things like c5 and b6 just to completely stop any chance of me messing this up. Keep their pawns on light squares, and the whole thing will look nice. So yeah, e3 looks reasonable. Okay, let's improve the bishop. Bishop e6. I don't want to play b6 yet because it's not necessary to do it now. I think I can do. Yeah, just make sure of myself. b6 looks solid. Then rook to d8 is my plan. The a rook to d8. I've got no weaknesses. I could even go pawn a5 if I need to. Again, none of my pawns are weak except for c7. That's the base of my pawn chain, which is extremely difficult for black to reach. But their pawns are already looking a bit ropey. The c3 pawn is maybe their least weak pawn because it's closest to their army and on a black square, so my light square bishop cannot get at it. Their c4 pawn, though, is going to be constantly undermined by my bishop. White's decided to put another piece on a light square. I'm thinking about playing f6 actually. First, I think I should put my rook on a good square, though. Okay, then f4. Alright, so they are actually starting to make pawn moves. I better not lose my bishop in some way, so I play f6 as a safety move. To play bishop f7 if I need to. Rook takes rook, wonderful. Okay, trade rooks. Now, if they do rook d1, which they have just done, I'm thinking that I might have a small edge after taking. They'll take with their king, naturally, because if they take with the bishop, I take c4. Now, I need to start rerouting my bishop around. My king can't really get active, but I constantly have these annoying moves to threaten things. So first off, let's have a simple move to attack them. They'll force their king up. Now I should improve my own king, king d6. Just leaving white with problems. g4, very good move. I think g5 might be good here. Oh, I didn't see. That's annoying. They can have e5 check. That's silly of me. I don't like taking them though. I think I'd have to go king to maybe e7 or e6. I'm not sure if it makes a difference. Silly of me. I missed that, but no, they haven't done it. Okay, that's good. h6 will solidify. Yeah, that will solidify my pawns all on black squares, on dark squares. And e5 now doesn't really work too well because I take it. King over, yeah. And I now have to try swinging my bishop around, tempting to go behind their pawns and cause them to worry about it. King to e2 is definitely a candidate, but the problem is f4 drops. They can't really keep their pawns on the 4th rank and stop me playing bishop d1, so they're going to have to make a concession here. I would very much like them to allow bishop d1, and if they go bishop e2, I think I can go bishop c2, but no, they played e5 check. I will take the gambit, take the pawn stack. I'm guessing they'll play f5 to try and, yeah, close the game up. Bishop d1 looks very, very good here. Now, bishop e2, I just take it. So they're going to go king g3, which is obvious. Alright. I'm in a slightly difficult position here, so maybe king to e7 to f6, just to prevent any of their pawns charging up the board, with especially that f-pawn. It's a good safety move. Also, it just keeps that g-pawn under pressure. White will have to do something. And potentially I can play h5 in the next move or so, because if they take me, I'll take with the bishop. I'm x-raying the g-pawn to protect the h-pawn. And that would isolate their f-pawn. So, yeah, they're doing this. Can I do bishop e2? Bishop e2, bishop d5. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't do anything, but it looks nice just to add pressure to their position. Then king f6 to have a safety option here. I really like my position now. h3, time to start pushing the h-pawn. I think, again, if they take me, they're in for a very, very difficult time. And what's great here is that maybe I could have done it last move, but I wanted to get this h-pawn move in. I also have bishop f1 to tie their king to guarding the h-pawn on h3, and also to tie their bishop down to guarding c4. And I'm making it very hard for white to play. Might be a draw with best play here, but it definitely looks good. How could white defend? Bishop to e6 would guard f5 and guard c4, but they're almost in a kind of Zugzwang position after h4 check, and then bishop f1. Or I could take them first on g4, they take back, and then play a move like c6, and their bishop is kind of tied down. Moves like a5 as well, trying to gain something. And I do have 4 against 3 on the queen side. That's my majority with 4 against 3. So at some point I may have to play c6 and b5, trying to quickly get the pawns moving. And they're still thinking about what to do. I'm still not totally sure whether I take them or not. Yeah, they've done bishop e6. Now taking them's probably good. h4 might be good as well, but I don't like it as much. Can I go c6 here? I don't see what's wrong with it, so let's go c6. If they attack on d7, I take on c4. a3, good move from them. a5 looks quite nice here. So I'm trying to get b5, b4 in. If they go a4, perfect. I can go bishop d1 and take. Bishop d7, yes. Okay, so now, first I have to take them, I think. Taking looks easier. They will take me back. Now I take on c4. They'll take on, yeah, of course, they'll take there. b5 to get my pawns rolling on the queen side. b4's coming. I'm hoping this is enough to win. King to f3 makes perfect sense. Now b4 looks good. Don't see why I can't do b4. It looks very, very good. They'll take me, I'll take back. I'm not sure it really matters which way I take, but just to make sure there's no shenanigans, I'll take with the c-pawn. If I take him with the a-pawn, they did have a4 potentially, so this just cuts out those ideas. Now, king to e3 is probably going to be done with king d2 and running over in mind. Exactly. And I need to work out what to do. I've basically got these two pawns running up the board. b3 I'm not totally sure about, because king to d2, b2, king to c2. What do I do? Oh, actually, I just push... Yeah, push the pawn, then go kick bishop e2, and I win both the g and f pawns that white has. Okay, that makes it very easy. Now, if they do bishop to e4, which could be the best, maybe I can Zugzwang with b2, bishop b1, bishop b3 from me. Now, if they move their bishop, which they haven't done, I would go bishop a2 and promote. And if they move their king, that would allow me to get to d1. So they have done this. Time to use the bishop behind the pawn. Capture both of them. And then try my best to actually win this. Do I take with the king? Maybe I do. Take with the king. I don't get skewered because of king f4. So I need to control the squares directly in front of my pawns. So first up, get my king up the board. King in front of the pawn is really, really necessary here. And bishop f3 looks very good for me. Yeah, you would think it would be easy with two pawns, but sometimes things can get a bit tricky. Like if bishop e4, I'm having a great time because of bishop f5. I don't think they'll do that. Bishop to f3, and I start pushing the pawns. I can get them easily to... Oh, okay, they've resigned. Alright, fantastic. So I'm at 23, 24, or no, 23, 29. So if I can win the next game, that will get me to 2, 3, 3, 3. And I'll be clearly halfway there. It'll be fantastic. I'll average about 23.53, I think, or 23.54, because my rapid is about 23.67, I want to say, and my classical is at 23.61. So I'm a lot closer with those two. These blitz games do sometimes make me a bit tired, and also they can be very tricky, and it's hard to work out what to do in such a short space of time. Let's try d4. I'm up against the 21-23. I don't know if I'm going to gain enough points to actually get to the goal here, so I might have to play one more game after this. Okay, let's allow them to do a Nimzo. I haven't played many Nimzos for a while, but they haven't taken the option. They've done this. Bishop g5. Okay, Queen's gambit declined. e3. Then I played against a player who's, in Britain he's quite well known, but I don't know about other places in Europe or in the world. John Merriman, who's about 2260, I want to say. Maybe he's been higher. I don't think he's an FM though, but he's definitely good enough to be one. And John Merriman played me in this position, in this position, where he was white and I was black, and I had to draw to stay ahead of him in the last round of a tournament. And d5, and then the Queen's Gambit declined, was not really my style, and he was able to slowly squeeze me to death in this position. So he won the tournament with 4.5, and I came second with 4 points. It's one of those positions where white just has a very small edge and black is having to defend very accurately. Bishop g4, I haven't considered that move very much. I often find that it's a bit, I don't know, somehow a bit loosening, because I often find black wants to play like knight bd7 first, or play b5, bishop b7 in these positions. I don't actually see much wrong with the move, that's the trouble. It's very active, so I like it. But I'm trying to remember why it's got problems. I think b7 is weak, so queen b3 is an alternative move that I could have done instead of castling. I wanted, though, to complete development without any problems. In a classical game, I'd spend a lot more time on this. Yeah, c6, so it's almost like a a6 Slav, like a Moran system. Okay, and queen b3 to try and get out the pin. The main idea behind it is not to take b7, but to play the move knight to e5, hitting their bishop. If they take me on f3, I'm trying to remember if I can take on b7 or not. I think I can, because they go like bishop e4, and I don't think they have enough for the exchange. And if they do bishop takes g2 desperado, I can probably take the bishop and then take stuff. They have done bishop takes f3. All right, time to show my aggression. Now bishop takes g2. I believe king takes g2 is correct. Knight b d7, queen takes c6, and I end up trying to catch all their pawns out. If they don't do bishop g2, I think queen d7 is the alternative from memory, and if I take the rook, queen g4 is extremely bad for me. So I think I'm meant to take the queen, they take back with their knight, and I take their bishop. And I've slightly loosened my pawns. The pawns not so good. Yeah, they've done knight d7 to defend themselves, and then I capture the bishop. So I've got the bishop pair, and I have won a pawn. Now rook b8, very good move. So I think, I'm trying to remember which one I capture. Is it A or C? I don't remember which one it is. I'm going to go with A. Because, okay, yeah, they take me. And I think my bishop, my bishop can easily run to, like, E2, queen D3 if I was really in danger. But I think I now can take C. Rook B6, okay. Queen, why can't I make the mouse move? Queen to A4. Looks good. It was my only move, I think. Knight to H5, interesting. Do I play H4 here, or do I play normally? H4 looks awful. Bishop takes bishop, I think is forced. Yeah, let's do it. Bishop takes bishop. Now queen takes, and I think I need to just maybe play F4. It looks interesting. Yeah, F4 looks fun. Stops them ever going like knight F4 or something, and I can play safely. Wow, rook H6. I did not see that move at all. Knight E2 maybe, or queen to C2, something like that. Knight E2, queen H4. Looking very, very difficult. Now maybe I can do this. Yeah, queen C2 looks a lot easier. So what this does is I'm trying to defend laterally on the second rank and play F3. Might be a bit passive playing queen C2, but anything to not lose, because I don't think I can afford to lose this game. I'll drop a ton of points. Knight D to F6 looks very good. Now, does knight E2 work? That's the important question. I don't know if it does, but I don't really want to be pinned on the C file. And it does swing a piece over to the king side, so it looks very enterprising. Now, knight to G3, queen to H4 looks deadly. King G2, queen H4 still looks horrible. I'm going to brave the elements with H3. My king is totally stranded. I'm hoping that if queen H4, I can either take the knight or go king G2. I'm hoping it survives. Taking the knight does look very, very suspicious, actually, because of knight F4, or knife F4, and then queen H1. So I may have to go king G2 if they put their queen on H4. And there's that rule of attacking with 3 pieces to win the game. They would be attacking with 4. 2 knights, a queen and a rook. So their attack is very, very effective. I have to respect their initiative. The good news is that if I survive this attack, I will win, because I have an extra couple of pawns, especially the A pawn that's a passer. Right, I'm going to go for broke. King to G2. If they allow me, I can go rook H1 and then try to run my king away. And also there's things like knight G3 that are interesting. Now, how do they continue the attack? Knight takes F4, knight takes F4, looks good. Knight H to F6, and I think rook H1. Oh no, they have queen takes F2. What am I talking about? Didn't even see that. Queen takes F2, that's bad. Alright, knight to... Maybe I have to go knight G1. Whew. This is really looking hard to play here. I think I've miscalculated this somewhere, allowing them so much attack. I had thought I was doing okay. Not over yet, though. Queen takes h3, king takes h3, knight f4, king takes knight. I don't think they can sack the queen. Knight f2, rook takes f2, knight to g3 or something. I don't see how they break through. So I might be alright here. But it looks like I'm really sort of just barely hanging on by the fingernails if they do knight h to f6, knight to g1, then they might be able to come in with knight e4 and possibly have to trade. And maybe I am okay in this line. But it's definitely not the kind of comfortable win I wanted. They're still thinking of what to do, so that's good. That means I haven't blundered into a mate or some other catastrophe if they're thinking this long. They do have things like rook to c8, sorry, not c8, b8, and swinging back down to like b2 if my queen moves off the second rank. But I don't think that will work because I have mate on c8 later. Pawn f5 tries to maybe like involve that other rook or to pressurize me in some way, but again I think I can take it. Yeah, I don't see where black goes in this attack. It's difficult. Knight takes e3 is the move I haven't looked at because I think I can take it, and then rook g6 doesn't work. Yeah, they have done this, so I'm going to have to play this absolutely horrible move, knight to g1. I think it's the only move that doesn't lose the h or the f pawns. And a knight back to h5, so what are they doing? Offering a draw? Can I go bishop f5 here? I'm going to try it. Ooh, wait. Bishop f5, knight takes e3, check. Pawn takes, and then queen g3. But my bishop on f5 is guarding the h3 pawn. So I think I can get away with bishop f5. Looks very scary. And let's hope I survive. I mean, I guess knight f4 doesn't work. g6, yeah, I'm not going to fall for that. I could just go bishop to g4, I think. Looks solid. Why not? Bishop g4. Knight f6. Okay, so they are attacking my bishop, trying to win it. Rook f3 doesn't work because they take my bishop. I guess my knight on g1 might just be doing enough. There's queen g2 as well. That looks pretty easy. Oh, but then I do queen takes bishop. Takes, knight takes. And yeah, it's not so good. Alright, bishop to f3 looks just about okay. That amazing knight on g1 appears to be holding my entire game together. King g7, okay, I'm not sure what the point is. Now, time to try trading queens. Queen g2, I'm very happy if they trade. They've gone queen h4, yeah, I didn't think they would. Now, what do I do next? f5? Maybe? I don't know. Nah, it can't be right. Rook f2? Bishop takes pawn is just asking for trouble, isn't it? So I can't see what else to do, so let's take it. Because I always have that knight on g1, that key knight. Now, rook e8, yes. Time to defend, keep defending. Rook a to e1. They're low on time, I might have this. Knight takes bishop, I just take it with the queen. I'm going to pre-move. There's no other way to take my bishop. Knight h5, okay, scary. Knight to g3 is the threat. Bishop f3, knight to g3. Rook bishop f3, rook f3, queen takes e1. King h2. Attempting to survive this. Knight f4, wow. Pawn takes. Oh, rook takes, yes. Rook takes. Then queen takes e1. Oh no, but I can take on f7. Okay. Rook takes, queen takes, rook f7 must be correct. Now, king g8, sorry, h8, king g8, I'd have discovered checks. Queen f3, is that working? I don't see how it loses, so queen f3. There aren't really any checks for them. Queen d2, I just answer with king h1 or with knight e2 or something. Knight e2 looks pretty solid here. Yeah, knight e2, just develop the piece. Finally that knight's moving from g1. Now, where else could they go here? They could do like something ridiculous like g4. Wow, they've done rook takes pawn. Rook takes pawn, that's so funny. Actually, if I do king takes, they have rook takes e3. So I have to be a little bit careful. It's annoying, I have to do queen takes and then lose my knight. That poor knight, it did such a good job. And let's just keep everything simple. Keep my bishop on the board, prevent anything bad, and mate them. Wonderful. Okay, 23-32 is my new racing. One more win should get me over the third of the way on my Blitz racing to 2400. This is a good start for me. Let's see, is there anyone who wants to take the game? The person who's asked for a rapid play game is literally offering 1 second longer on increment. So it's possible that they choose to accept my challenge. So I'll be playing a 2200 level player, which will definitely get me over the requirement. Again, I may update my sort of challenge acceptance parameters because it's still on 2000 or higher, but generally when I play a low 2000 player like Dadang SP, for example, who's offering a 3-minute rated game, if I play someone of that rating, I only gain about 1 or 2 points, I think, maybe 3 at the highest, from a win at Blitz. And if I lose, I lose a ton. I lose like 18 points or something. So I think I may have to change it so that I only play 2100s or higher. It's good enough for this video anyway to play a 2000, because that would just about get me over the 23-33 mark, which would be a third of the way there. Okay, no takers at the moment. I seem to have run out of opponents. I'll leave it on for another maybe 30 seconds or so. If I still don't have a partner by then, I may have to end this video on sort of just before the goal is reached. It'll be sort of a cliffhanger as to whether I get here, whether I get to that third of the way, or whether I just constantly have to lose a game and then go back up to 23-30 and then lose a game and never reach 2400. There's like a 2100 level player who's offered 5 minutes rated. I'm tempted to accept the offer just to get another game in, but I do need those increments because I do seem to spend some time and have a lot of pressure on me when there's no increment. So I do need to spend a few times in the game to think on my moves. Okay, fantastic. I have an opponent, and look at the rating. They're literally just above the minimum. Alright, Sicilian. Let's go for Sicilian times. They're doing a dragon. I have a lot of respect for the dragon. Let's do something interesting. Let's play a gambit type move. It's not really a gambit because I don't see how they guard it. Wow, they have done e5. That's the only move. If I do knight takes, it's queen a5. So I'm playing a kind of weird version of a Smith-Morra gambit. If they take me, which I'm willing for them to do, go for it. Go on, take me. I'll be definitely ahead in development. I'll have a great position. d5 is a weak square. I've got the d file to aim at their d7 pawn, which is their extra one. But no, they haven't. I don't really want to stay a pawn down the whole game, really. I want to essentially catch up here and just prove that I'm slightly better in my initiative. Okay, a knight takes looks good. Now, bishop g7. What do I do here? Maybe I can get away with this sneaky move, knight b5. Looks very, very hard for black to play this. Knight d6 is coming. Or knight c7 if they're very careless. Queen a5 check, I don't really see where that goes. I can put my b1 knight onto c3, I can play bishop d2. I could even go king f1, but that's a line only really seen ever in the Danish Gambit and the Evans, which I'm not huge fans of. Now f4 is an interesting move here. They might have to go. They might have to actually go like bishop b8 or something, which would be amusing. It's a way of trying to get their dragon bishop off the diagonal to make it a non-dragon. They have done bishop b8. Now I could do knight d6 straight away, but I'm going to develop with knight 1 to c3, which is an odd thing to say. They're doing knight f6. I think now might be the time. There is e5 though as a move, but the thing is that in these positions, you know, whenever black can go d5, they probably will. So just to avoid any complications where they can get in the move d5, I'm going to go knight check to prevent that move. Slay their dragon, which is now very pitiful looking. And if they go queen e7, which I'm expecting, I should probably now just cash in. Queen takes queen. I'll take with their knight or their king, doesn't really matter. I prevent d5 forever, ideally. They can't go d5 because I take their knight, they take my bishop, I take that other knight. So I stay a piece up. They'll do something. Okay, knight h5. I could go g4, but that is one too many pawn moves, I think. It's castle, king side, looks good. Developing all my pieces. Now knight to e4 is looking good. I can get a octopus knight on the key d6 square. If they go d5, I just take en passant. There's no reason for them to lose a pawn right now. But then again, they're getting paralysed here. All their pieces are starting to look very nasty. Right, time to stop them. I want to stop them going knight f5. I'm not trying, I mean, as a bonus I hit their knight. But the main reason I'm doing this is so I can play knight d6. Now they can't go knight f5 because my g-pawn is on the board. So I've got a great position here. Rook b8 is what is their option. Maybe I just go b4 or b3, I'm not sure. b3 is a safety move. Bishop b7 is now something they can do if they wish, and then like bishop a8 if I don't capture it. I don't really want to get rid of my octopus knight though, it's just so strong. Ooh, can I do the a la Ben Feingold, always play f6? Well, partly my rule. Never play f6, the Ben Feingold rule. My rule is always play f6 if you're white. So I'm trying to go f5, f6, gaining a tempo. Looking very, very nasty. So f6 looks very, very strong here. Very strong indeed. I think I will have to go f6. Admittedly, my e5 pawn's a bit weaker, but I don't really care too much about that. So my plan is bishop h6 with a big attack. They may have to do knight takes pawn, because if they do rook d8, I have bishop takes f7, king to h8, bishop g7 mate. They have done knight takes, unfortunately, so I can't mate them. But never mind, I'll take the rook. Knight takes bishop is probably correct. And I'll do pawn takes. They'll take my bishop, and then rook e1 is quite nice, threatening mate on e8. How long have I got? 4 minutes 20. That's a good number to have. They're down to 3.5 minutes. They've done king takes f8. They haven't even done taking my bishop on c4. Okay, well, oh, I nearly played rook fe1. That would have been a huge mistake because of knight f3 check. Rook ae1 is better. Now I don't see what they do here. If they move that knight, rook e8 is coming. Guess knight. I don't know. Knight takes bishop doesn't work. Knight to e6 loses the knight. Yeah, this looks winning. Bishop to a6. I take the knight, and I don't think I even lose a pawn. This looks absolutely over. They have resigned. Wonderful, and I gained 1 point. So I've managed to reach the minimum. I'm a third of the way to 2400 on the road to 2400. 1/3 of the way there. Wonderful. Okay, so I'll end the video in a moment. I will just quickly look at an analysis board, see where I could have improved and where they could have improved. It felt very natural, this game. It was it was quite nice how all my pieces sort of coordinated well together, and I didn't need to really calculate too many tactics. I've made a few inaccuracies already so early in the game, but the way that things just flowed together, my good centre, the pawn sack is very useful. I may have to think about this more, but that pawn sack on d4 and then bishop c4 seemed to confuse my opponent a bit. And there are 2000s, they're not a bad player. They just didn't really have experience in this kind of position, I don't think. So yeah, definitely good. And that octopus knight on d6, once I got it there, that was it. I had a stranglehold on the position. Let's have a look. Okay, so I made one mistake, 4 inaccuracies. Not the best game I've ever played, but not the worst either. Let's have a look from the beginning. Alright, so beginning of the game is just normal. And yeah, bishop c4 is apparently inaccurate, but I don't know why it's bad, what black can do. Apparently bishop g7 is black's best option, but then I can just take with the knight, and we go into a almost like a Fischer system in the Sicilian, which are ones I play anyway, so it's a kind of transposing tool for me. Kind of allows black to go wrong with e5. So it's a good alternative move. c3, yeah, knight c6. I was hoping they'd capture me and allow me to have a very, very strong position. There are lines in the kind of almost Icelandic gambits as black, where you end up with white having a d-pawn that can't move 2 squares up. So you are a pawn down, but their pawn on the board is actually hurting them because it's stopping their bishops moving out. Just like in this game, their d7 pawn was always some sort of weakness in the position. Bishop g7, knight b5. So bishop e5 is a mistake. Apparently black should actually just jettison the pawn. Give me it, because I've already caught up on material. But hopefully it's only plus 1.4, so I only have 0.4 in compensation. Oh, not even compensation, in just extra value. But it might be just about enough for black to rally their forces and survive. So this bishop move isn't very good. Apparently castles is correct. I don't quite know why. I thought that f4 might give them... Sorry, castling might give them more choices. f4 felt very forcing. And bishop b8 was practically forced. Knight 1 c3 seems to be correct. There was no need to rush with knight d6, because I don't see how they really stop me. And queen e7, I always have moves like... knight to d5 in the future, if I play e5 first, then knight d5. So knight f6 apparently is a mistake. a6 is better, but that forces me to where I want to go. I'm not sure about a6, to be honest. Knight d6, takes, queen e7. Surprisingly, queen takes is actually the best move. I thought that maybe a computer would play something along the lines of queen d3, but I thought it was a lot easier just to rely on my positional edge and my bishop pair to win the game. Yeah, castling. Knight to e4 is apparently a mistake. g4 is better to do first. And apparently black should still give their pawn away. It really shows that black is getting squashed when their best move is to just give a pawn with no compensation whatsoever. So b6 was a good attempt, to be honest. It's probably what I would do. g4, I think that was a key move actually, stopping knight f5 after I go knight d6, removing my octopus. Knight g7, apparently b3 is correct, but I like this jumping in, preventing black ever moving the d-pawn. b8, yeah, b3 apparently is correct. Knight e6 is a blunder, but I don't really see how black improves unless they do that. Possibly bishop b7 is their best try. You know, it's the most human move, I guess, bishop b7, to go to a8 possibly and try to have the bishop on the diagonal and connect the rooks. This allows f5. Oh, and f6 is a mistake or inaccuracy. I can do knight takes, very nice. Rook takes, then pawn takes, and I have a triple attack on their rook with the bishop, pawn, and my own rook, and they're pinned. So I can go over. I've won the exchange. Got the 2 bishops, fianchetto as well. Okay, now I've lost the 2 bishops. But very, very active pieces with the exchange up. This is definitely a crushing position. And then rooks to the 7th, improving all my pieces, and it's over. I think I should win. And black's best move is apparently to put their knight in the corner. You know that you're in trouble if you have to do that. Yeah, very nice. So f6 was a mistake. My rule of always play f6 was, for once, misplaced. But bishop h6 is still extremely good. It's plus 4, essentially, for me. And, yeah, I think f takes is about plus 6. Oh, sorry, knight takes f7. A few moves earlier was plus 6. I'm losing 2 pawns there, essentially, in the value of my pieces and general position. But it's still good enough. Apparently king takes is wrong. Yeah, I thought knight takes c4 was better to try and get rid of both my bishops and maybe trade some pieces to kind of have some breathing room. But again, it looks kind of academic because I don't see how I'm going wrong here. Yeah, rook 8 e1. I've got rook e8. Oh, I didn't see that. Knight e6. I thought they'd have to go bishop b7 or something, and I would then maybe trade off my octopus knight finally. And I can go rook f3, bishop b7. Oh, I see, rook a3 coming across. And when they go a5, I have like rook b1. So I'm going to take a pawn on the b file. Because when they move the bishop to guard it with their rook, the a pawn is available because the b pawn's now pinned. Knight c7, and I can just come back with rook to a3, and then double up and potentially trade everything. So that was very nice. And of course in the game, after king takes f8, it's now plus 6 because of rook a to e1. Again, if black does almost any move which looks halfway sensible in normal circumstances, I can checkmate them. So I think black does lose that e5 knight for very little. That's why they resigned. And I'm technically a miniature because even though the miniatures are up to 25 moves, black did not complete their 25th move. So I think technically it's the longest possible game you can have, which is still a miniature. Alright, good way to get to 2333. So a third of the way there, and over halfway there overall. And I think quite a good way to end the video. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.